Hello everyone and welcome back to another Top 5. Today's video is 5 bone-chilling urban legends. Myths and legends have been around since the first humans sat around a campfire and spun tales of things that lurk beyond the firelight. History has no shortage of malicious serial killers, demented madmen, and nightmarish creatures, and when legends and killers come together, you get some pretty creepy stories. We hear it from the day we're born, don't trust strangers, and as humans, we instinctively fear the things that lurk in the dark, because we know that that's where the predators hide. So for number 5, we have footprints in the snow. This urban legend involves a teenage girl who was home with her little sister while their parents were out on the town. After watching some television together, she sent her little sister to bed and then went back downstairs to watch more TV. Eventually she got bored with that's when watching, she turned it off, then curled up in a blanket on the couch and watched the snow fall through the large sliding glass window in the living room. She had only been watching for a few minutes when she saw a man walking toward the sliding glass doors with deadly purpose. He started to pull something shiny out of his coat, and she dove under her blanket in terror. After a while, she pulled down the blanket and found that the man was gone. She called the police, who immediately rushed over to the scene to investigate. Upon examining the premises, one of the first things they have noticed was that there were no footprints in the snow, and with the rate of snowfall, there was no way they could have been covered that quickly. Puzzled, the officers inspected the residence and noticed wet footprints on the carpet, leading straight up to the couch where the girl had been sitting. The madman had been right behind her the whole time, and what she had seen had been his reflection in the window. Now for number 4. The chilling discovery. There are multiple versions of this story, and most of them start with a young college girl who was studying late and thus was spending a lot of time in the library instead of her dorm room. During a late night of studying, she realized that she had forgotten something in her dorm room, so she decided to make a trip back to go get it. When she opened the door, she found the room dark, but figured that her roommate was either asleep or out studying like her. Not wanting to disturb her in case she was asleep, she left the light off, grabbed what she needed, and went back to the library. Upon returning to her room, she found her roommate lying on the floor with a slit throat, but the worst part was the message written in lipstick on the bathroom mirror that read simply, "Aren't you glad you didn't turn on the light?" In another version of the tale, there is a woman who lives alone in an apartment with her puppy. She was fast asleep, and one night she was awoken by a strange noise. To reassure herself, she reached down to where the pup slept beside the bed and felt it lick her hand. Satisfied, she drifted peacefully back to sleep. The next morning, she discovered that the dog had been hanged in the shower. On the floor beside her bed was a note that said, "Humans can lick too." Now for number 3. The unfortunate coat incident. This urban legend begins on a cold winter day with a young couple who were having a christening party in their home for their new baby. The guests started to arrive out of the cold, and as they were welcomed by their hosts, they tossed their coats onto a bed that was near the main living room. It just started with a coat or two, but once someone saw one coat, everyone began adding to the pile. Before long, all the guests had arrived and everything was in full swing. The parents decided that it was time to show off their new baby to the guests. After all, he was the guest of honor, so the mother walked over to the bed where she had left the baby, only to scream in horror when she found that her little bundle of joy had been accidentally smothered under the towering pile of coats. Now for number 2, the lost child. A young woman was walking down her street on a normal spring day when she saw a small child sitting beside the road and crying. She stopped to ask the little girl if she was okay, and the girl told her that she was lost. Sniffling, the girl teen asked her if she could help her find her way home. Overwhelmed with pity for the little girl, the young woman readily agreed. Luckily, the little girl knew her address and had a general idea of where her home was. Before long, the two had made it to her house. The front door was locked, and since the girl was too small to reach the doorbell, she asked the young woman to press it for her. The woman pressed the doorbell without a second thought and immediately felt a powerful shock course through her body. It knocked her out cold, and she woke up several hours later completely naked and surrounded by used condoms. The house she was in was empty, her rapists were long gone, and the child was nowhere to be seen. Now for number 1, the scream nobody heard. At some college campuses, it's apparently a tradition for students who live in dorms to all let loose with a scream at a designated time. According to the stories, it helps the students release stress, especially during finals weeks. On the finals weeks at UCLA, the tradition was for everybody to scream at midnight to let out that pent of frustration. So just as expected, everyone did their screaming. Ritual and the campus rang with the caffeine-fueled howls of a horde of exhausted youths. The ritual complete, the campus quieted down, and everyone eventually went to bed, only to discover the next morning that one of the screams had been real. A young woman had been raped, and precisely midnight, her assaulter timed to coincide with the noisiest moment of the year. Nobody heard it, because that's one scream among hundreds. Legend has it that since then, the screaming tradition has been banned from UCLA campus, and anyone who breaks the rule is punished with expulsion. But that's all for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed, please do rate, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to check out my previous videos for more. And remember, I upload once a week, every week, on Saturday 10 a.m., so don't miss that, and have a safe and wonderful day.
I get it until the sunrise, doing 90 and a 65, windows roll down screaming now.